Welcome, welcome to Sports and Songs, Season 2, Episode 4. I'm your co-host, Dan, along with Andy. Andy, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good. Today is December 4th, 2020. We're coming up on the Christmas holiday season.
Yes.
And lots of sports with the merging of fall and winter sports are coming up. And I guess you've got a lot of music, concert, all sorts of updates for us, for the listeners.
Yes. Yes. Start with some high school sports. So we wrapped up football last week.
Hey, are we doing the trivia question at the first part?
Yes. I forgot.
Did I do it?
The trivia question part. Yes.
Okay. It's an
little teaser.
We'll start it. We'll do the question, and then we'll do the answer later in the segment before the musical piece. But the trivia question today is, baseball great Joe Carter went to college at Wichita State. He played two sports there. You know the two sports that he played. Now we know one is baseball, obviously, but he played two sports. That's the trivia question. Go on with your updates here for the listeners, Andy.
Was he a mathlete? Was that the other sport?
He was a mathlete. Actually, I do have. I'm going to share this screen here. If you can see this picture, Joe Carter. Check this out. He was a shocker.
Wichita State.
All right. Now we'll have the answer later on in the segment.
Like I said, last week we finished up high school football. There was no real final rankings because there was no tournament, so it's all kind of judgmental on what brackets or what forms do I look at. Star Tribune, Max Prep like we do. This week for the volleyball rankings, I got Max Prep. The last Star Tribune ones I saw were a couple weeks old, so I didn't go with that, but I did see the Minnesota Volleyball Coaches Association had polls up. So I kind of compared the two as we go here. Overall, Max Prep, they do it overall. They combine all three classes. And on theirs, they had Wayzata 1, 11-0 record. Minnesota is second with 2-0. Because remember, Max Prep, they use the analytics.
Yes.
They do theirs. So Stewartville 3 at 9-0. Eastridge and Woodbury 13-0. And number 5, Boston at 11-0.
Boston, sorry.
That's after the show.
Bad humor.
Bad humor. Okay, so we go with Max Prep's 3A rankings. They got Wayzata, Eastridge, Northfield, Monticello 4th at 10-1, and North St. Paul 5th at 4-0. They had Minnetonka at 8. The Minnesota Volleyball Coaches Association had Wayzata 1st, Lakeville North 2nd, Egan 3rd, Eastridge 4th, Shakopee 5th. So big difference right there. 2A went Stewartville, Greenway Coleraine at 3-0, Southwest Christian in Chaska at 3-0, Albany at 8-0, and Rosso at 11-1. Watertown Mayor checking in at number 11. Minnesota Volleyball Coaches Association went Stewartville, Marshall, Concordia, had Watertown Mayor at 4, and Caston Manorville at 5th. So there's some differences right there again. 1A went Minnesota 1st at 2-0, Boston 2nd at 11-0, Mabel at 14-0, Mayor Lutheran 4th, 11-1, and Belgrade 5th at 5-0. Minnesota Volleyball Coaches had Waterville, Elysian, Morristown 1st, Minnesota, Mayor Lutheran, Mabel, and Greenway. They had Boston 8th. They had Boston 8th in the A ranking, yet Max Prep had Boston 5th in the entire state, all brackets combined. So analytics 1, people's opinion 0. So that's the high school wrap-up part of the show. WCHA hockey. This being the state of hockey, I thought we'd start some hockey snooze. 3 WCHA non-conference games are rescheduled this weekend. Lake Superior State and Alabama Huntsville moved their series to December 5th and 6th. And University of Alabama Huntsville and the Ferris State games is moved to December 8th. So those got switched around. For those of you who follow that in your fantasy WCHA leagues, be advised. Also, those games were moved. I came out of the Bloomington, Minnesota office. The games have been rescheduled. It doesn't say if it was coronavirus or just plain schedules or what. It doesn't say why, just those games were rescheduled. So remain calm on that, all as well there. The U.S. hockey polls for college hockey, USA Today, USA Men's Magazine, for college hockey has North Dakota first, who hasn't played a game yet. Boston College second, who's 2-0. Minnesota Duluth and Denver, 3-4. Neither one have played games yet. And the University of Minnesota, who's 4-0, ranked fifth. So that's for the men. For the women, Wisconsin 1, Northeastern is 2, the University of Minnesota 3, Ohio State 4, and Clarkson 5. Of all those teams, only Minnesota and Ohio State have played, both at the time of this poll of November 24th at 1-1. As we know, the Gophers are now 3-1. Speaking of the Gophers, Minnesota's Lauren Bench honored as the National Goaltender of the Month. As we mentioned before, she's a redshirt graduate senior. She's a 4-year graduate from, say it with me, Bemidji State. She finished her college there. Went to the U for graduate work. She's a redshirt senior goaltender. She's 3-1. Got Goaltender of the Month for hockey, so congratulations to her. But for the second weekend in a row, speaking of Minnesota sports, second weekend in a row, the border battle matchup between Minnesota and Wisconsin has been impacted by COVID-19. Last weekend, the football game for Paul Bunyan's Axe was canceled after a coronavirus outbreak within the Gophers program. Friday morning, that would be today, as we're recording this. The women's hockey weekend series between top-ranked Wisconsin and number 3 Minnesota is postponed due to positive tests within the Badgers program. News comes just days after the Gophers' next weekend series against Ohio State is called off due to the Buckeyes not having enough players available to compete per WCHA's return to competition protocols. Minnesota was able to fit in a series against Minnesota State in its place, announcing a home-and-home set for next weekend. The Gophers and Mavericks will play Thursday in Mankato and Friday at Ritter. Those of you with tickets, just check Call the U and see how they can handle that. If you had tickets for those games, how to get tickets for those. Women's hockey returns 2 weeks ago after a delayed start to the season. WCHA teams have been battling coronavirus-related issues since then. All but one team, Ohio State, is based in the upper Midwest, where COVID-19 rates have been at their highest in the past couple of weeks. St. Cloud State's series against Bemidji State was postponed the first weekend of the season due to an outbreak within the Huskies program. This weekend series between Minnesota State and Bemidji State was postponed earlier in the week. Just what I know, that again was a Mankato State issue for that postponement, not Bemidji, what we said last week. So Bemidji State and Minnesota have been clean for hockey so far. Everybody else is sharing glasses at parties, I guess. Gopher men's hockey is now 5-0 with a game they won last night against Sparty up at Michigan State, and they are playing tonight. As of right now, in fact, as we record this, they're playing Michigan State right now. So Gopher men are off to 5-0, soon to be 6-0 tonight, hopefully. The women are 3-1, with their only loss being back to Ohio State back in November, right before Thanksgiving there on the 22nd. NCAA basketball, just quick notes. Gopher men are off to a 3-0 start. They got the Sioux this weekend, and the women are 1-0, so that's good news there. NCAA men's top 10 overall. Gonzaga still holds on to number 1. Baylor 2, and those two will be playing each other coming up. Iowa moves up to number 3. Wisconsin up to 4. Illinois 5. That other team in North Carolina at 6. Kansas 7th. Michigan State 8. Creighton 9, and Houston 10. Moving up from number 17. Women's basketball. Top 10, South Carolina 1, Stanford 2, Connecticut 3, Baylor 4, Louisville, Mississippi State, Arizona, NC State, UCLA, and Oregon round off the top 10. No changes from the previous week for the ladies there. Gopher football off the Gophers website. Just the other day, Minnesota Athletics announced today on its December 5th game against Northwestern has been canceled. All team-related activities remain paused. The game will not be rescheduled. It will be ruled a no contest per Big Ten policy this season. The decision to cancel the game came against Northwestern was made by Director of Athletics Mark Boyle, President Joan Gable, and Gophers Athletic Medical Director Dr. Brad Nelson, after consulting with the Big Ten Conference. The health and safety of our student athletes, coaches, and staff continue to be our main priority, said Coyle. The Gopher football team is, I heard one news station the other day, they lead the Big Ten in coronavirus cases. So that's one good thing. We were rowing the boat right there up that one. So the Gophers have that done. The remaining schedule here's outlook. November 28th, Saturday was canceled against Wisconsin. December 5th, canceled against Northwestern. December 12th on their schedule says it's a game at Nebraska. And on the Gopher schedule, it still lists December 19th, Saturday, as a neutral site game against the Eastern Division. So it had like an open week. It doesn't sound like they're going to be filling in that game, though. So the Gophers have just the one more left. From the Big Ten website, the 2020 Big Ten Football Championship game, presented by Discover, to be played Saturday, December 19th at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. The 10th annual championship game will kick off at noon Eastern and be carried on Fox. The 2020 Big Ten Championship game be on Fox on their Saturday program time slot. Noon kickoff. This is all a lot of speculation on who's going to be in that game. It's usually the winner of the East gets winner of the West. I know they said you have to have so many games played. Looks like Ohio State leads the East right now at 4-0, Indiana second 5-1. So those two teams should be good to go for number of games played. The West, Northwestern 5-1, Iowa 4-2, Wisconsin 2-1. They're not going to have enough games to qualify. So if they run the table, Iowa or Northwestern will have a better record, better winning percentage. And besides, we don't like Wisconsin, don't want them playing. So that's how that's set overall. The big picture overall for all of NCAA, their top four remains unchanged. Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, and Ohio State. There has been some word out of the SEC that since they let Notre Dame play in the SEC this year because of the coronavirus and for games, Notre Dame did beat Clemson earlier this year, and they'll have to play each other in the SEC championship game. Now, it's happened before with Alabama and other teams where they've had same teams play each other in the championship game and still make the Final Four bowls, their championship. The conferences are allowing Notre Dame and Clemson to bow out of their other games just to make sure everybody's healthy and happy and we get good ratings for the finals. That being said, like I said, Ohio State is 4-0. Kurt Herbstreit on ESPN, who's an Ohio State guy, has been saying, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here, I overheard it on the way home today on another podcast, and other news stations have said it too. He's saying that Michigan wants to forfeit the game against Ohio State, claim coronavirus, because of the big rivalry between Michigan and Ohio State. If that game gets canceled, Ohio State won't have enough games to qualify for the national championship.
Nice.
Now, but me too. Oh, how I hate Ohio State, as the rhyme I learned as a child. Now, one poo-poo on that is I don't think Michigan State would want to do that because, A, I don't think they're jerks like that at Michigan. And also, if Ohio State makes the championship, even the Final Four teams, the Big Ten gets money out of that. Therefore, Michigan gets a check too. So you're just shooting yourself in the foot. I mean, that's my opinion on it. Let Ohio State play. Let them get thumped by Alabama. I'd rather see Ohio State get crushed by Alabama than not make it because of not enough games. That would help me sleep better at night.
Yes.
There's a little transition here. Little thing in Tokyo on Fox News, I saw this. The 5 Olympic rings are back up in Tokyo Bay. They have relit them. As you know, the Olympics were supposed to be this year. They postponed them a year. They were removed from maintenance about 4 months ago. Shortly after that, Tokyo Olympics were postponed. The rings, painted blue, black, red, green, and yellow, they stand about 15 meters tall and 33 meters in length. That's 50 feet and 100 feet for us here in the States. The rings will be lighted at night to herald the upcoming Tokyo Olympics, which are scheduled to open July 23rd, 2021, followed by the Paralympics August 24th. I'm not holding my breath on the Olympics happening. Just saying. You heard it here first. So we'll see how that all works out. I can see other countries just bowing out, not wanting to do it. We'll see. MLS soccer, pro soccer, kind of taking a local note here. Last night, Minnesota United upset number 1 Kansas City 3-0. So that means Minnesota goes on to the semifinals, December 7th. That'd be Monday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. They'll be playing Seattle at Seattle. That game will be on FS1. And they'll play the winner of the New England Columbus series. Now, in our series, we're the 4 seed. Seattle is the 2 seed. Just to let you know how we're sitting there. On the other side, on the East, New England is the 8 seed, and Columbus is the 3 seed. So we got a good chance of having a good close game either way. If New England makes it, the 8 seed's hot. You don't want to play them in the championship. If it's Columbus, they're 3, we're a 4 seed. That's pretty evenly matched, so we'll see how that goes. One NFL note. I found this, a couple NFL notes. First of all, the schedule for this week. Those of you playing fantasy football like myself. Because that Thursday night game for Thanksgiving, Pittsburgh and Baltimore that was just played 2 days ago. Okay, here's how the schedule works out for the NFL. On Monday night, there's going to be 2 football games. The Steelers are going to host the Washington Redskins. And then the scheduled game, 7 o'clock Eastern time, 49ers hosting Buffalo. Tuesday, the Dallas Cowboys will be in Baltimore playing the Ravens. There's 2 games Monday, 1 Tuesday for Week 13. I kind of like the NFL being stretched out like this. Selfish me. Even though I'm not a big NFL guy, I like not only is highlights on one day where you don't know what's going on, spread it out a little bit. I'm okay with it. Best news on Thanksgiving, I thought this was kind of good news, kind of funny. I used to think Philadelphia Eagles fans were vicious fans. I mean, they've been known for throwing snowballs at Santa Claus at the games, okay? But here's hats off to the Detroit Lions fans. Detroit Lions fans reportedly donated to Deshaun Watson, quarterback of Houston Texans charity, to thank him because, well, after Houston beat Detroit on Thanksgiving, Detroit fired their head coach, Matt Patricia. So fans donated to Deshaun Watson's charity for thanking them for their coach fired.
Awesome.
Nice. That's classy right there. Speaking of the NFL, if these games moved around, should the NFL playoffs be bubbled? That topic's come before. If you look at our the links in our Facebook page or anything else below, I did write about this in the blog this week. You'd see my opinions on that, for what they're worth. I want to see your comments on it too. But my opinions on if the NFL playoffs should be bubbled. The NBA, speaking of bubbling, the NBA tested, this is off CBS Sports. NBA tested 546 players for COVID-19 during the period of November 24th through November 30th. Of the results were not overly positive. Of those 546, 48 tested positive. The NBA and the NBA Players Association announced in a joint statement Wednesday that is a positivity rate of 8.8%, below the 10.2 national average. Oh, well, thank God. So there's still a lot of players. I remember the NBA when they first started had a real tough time. A lot of guys outbreaks. Mellowed out throughout the season. We'll see. The NBA, like we said last week, is canceling all their All-Star Game activities this year. Some of these players are still having issues. They don't know how they're going to come back because Training camp's supposed to start this week for the NBA. Orlando Magic center Mo Bamba, who is still dealing with symptoms 5 months after his diagnosis. So it's still a little concern on that. Not to leave anyone left out. We mentioned last Saturday, 80 days as of that time for pitchers and catchers to report. February 16th is when the Orioles were the first team to report. Just keep you warm thoughts in your heart. February 14th, the Daytona 500. So just keep that in mind. Don't double book anything on that Sunday. It's the Daytona 500. Priorities. Before I get into Major League Baseball news, did you have minor league news about the Twins, sir?
Yes, the Twins have an interesting situation here with their AAA and their minor league facilities. They announced now that the St. Paul Saints will be the Twins' AAA home. The St. Paul Saints will now be from the American Association, which is independent baseball, are going to be part of the minor league affiliated minor league baseball. The Twins AAA team will be in St. Paul. So calling up guys from AAA is going to be a piece of cake now. The current 2020 season, that's where they practice, and that was their home anyway. But it's official. They're no longer going to be in Rochester, New York, a little closer to home, St. Paul Saints. So St. Paul Saints have left the independent league. We're going to have AAA baseball here at a fine facility at CHS Ballpark in St. Paul. Now, what was announced just today, the Twins' AA new home. It was Pensacola, Florida, and it's now named Wichita. The Wichita Wind Surge. Wichita Wind Surge will be the Twins' home for AA. Now get this. Wichita just completed building a $75 million stadium. Long history in Wichita for college baseball, long history. The old stadium was 83, 84 years old. They demolished it, built a brand new facility to try to attract a AAA baseball farm team to their city. They got that. In 2020, they opened up brand new. COVID came. No one played a single inning on that stadium. They had it for 1 year as a AAA team for the Florida Miami Marlins. Miami Marlins was going to move for 2020 their AAA facility to a brand new facility in Wichita. 2020 COVID, nothing happened. They never played an inning. It's a brand new facility. Twins are now going to get it, move it to their AA. So the folks and fans and city leaders in Wichita are let down because they wanted AAA baseball. Now they're going to be back to AA. But Twins farm system are going to be in lucky shape, I think. Their AAA gets to play at a great field at CHS Field, one of the best. I think it's an awesome facility there. Their AA is going to be playing in essentially a brand new ballpark in Wichita. High A ball, Class A, is still Fort Myers, for the Fort Myers Miracle in Class A, which is still one of the best facilities at Hammond Stadium down in Florida, which leaves the Cedar Rapids Colonels right now as one could call it their worst stadium, and that's even nice. I've been down there. That's a nice facility, but boy, this new one in Wichita is going to be awesome, and that's going to be a nice place to watch baseball. And of course, a road trip away from watching Cedar Rapids Colonels, Wichita, St. Paul Saints. We can see 3 Twins minor league farms teams in a day's drive to watch them all. The only farthest one out is Florida with Fort Myers. So that's
and CHS Field's only like 10 years old, isn't it?
I think it's less than that even, and that's one of the nicest facilities there is. So there's a whole big shakeup with minor league baseball with all the affiliates, but now the Twins, the dust have settled for the Minnesota Twins with all of their facilities, and that's going to be nice. I'm looking forward to going to a Wichita game and seeing a ball game down there at that new facility. The old facility there before they tore that down was the home for the last ever College Baseball World Series before they moved to Omaha, Nebraska, and it's been there ever since. I was thinking of going with that for the trivia question, but while I was in Wichita, I ended up getting hung up on this Joe Carter story. So that made that the trivia question. But Omaha has always been the home to the NCAA Baseball World Series every single year. Last time it wasn't there, it was in Wichita. Big baseball loving state there. So
that's
in
good
Wichita
area.
City. They were in the American Association independent league with the Saints, and they were pretty good the last couple of years.
Yep.
The team was the Wichita Wingnuts. Another trivia question.
Yes.
We'll save that for down the road. So Wichita Wingnuts, but the Minnesota Twins minor league guys are going to be the Wichita Wind Surge starting in 2021. Nice facility in downtown, right on the river. It's called Riverside Stadium or Riverside Park. It's right along the Arkansas River.
Very nice.
That's all I've got for minor league. I've got some Major League Baseball notes, but I know that you do as well.
Yeah. Look at where those Twins locations are. You might want to go there and watch their pitching now because all of our pitchers are going to New York. Off the Mets website, once offseason down, and Trevor May became a free agent. For the first time in his career, he rekindled a conversation with one of his most influential pitching coach from Minnesota, Jeremy Hefner, former Minnesota pitching coach down at the Mets. May peppered his old friend with questions about New York City, knowing Hefner had spent many years there as a player and now coach. The two chatted about places to live. They talked about where May might fit into the Mets bullpen. May acknowledged Thursday during an introductory Zoom conference was one of the most significant reasons why he signed a 2-year, $15.5 million deal with the Mets. The other, to be honest, one of the biggest things was kind of the buzz around Steve Cohen, the new owner of the Mets, and the purchases of the team and the excitement of all the changes that are happening, May said. My immediate reaction was wanting to be part of something like that. Now, the Mets with their checkbook, the checkbook's open. SNY.com, a Mets New York Sports New York site. The Mets are bringing back left-handed Steven Matz with a deal worth $5.1 million for the 2021 season. Now, Steven Matz, to me, with the Mets rotation of Stroman, DeGrom, Syndergaard, if he comes back, then you throw in Steve Matz. Kind of like the Braves lineup. Remember, you had Maddox, you had Glavine, you had Smoltz. Then you had Steve Avery.
Yeah.
Avery was a 1 or 2 in any of the team, but he was the 4 there. That's kind of the way Steve Matz is here with these guys. He's going to be the 4, but he'd probably be a 1 or 2 on most other teams in the league. So don't feel bad for him. Don't go, what are you paying that kind of money for a number 4 guy? He'd be a 1 or 2 anywhere else. Also, Noah Syndergaard coming off Tommy John surgery. So Syndergaard, there's no idea if he's going to be back opening day or not. Speaking of Trevor May. Speaking of Twins pitching in the minors. Trevor May aboard. One of his good buddies, Jake Odorizzi, might be with the Mets soon. The Mets, this is also off SNY TV. The Mets would have no issue signing Odorizzi before the market develops and the sides can agree to terms. The Mets signed reliever Trevor May due to reasons that made him a perfect fit. And he's good buddies with the pitching coach. And also, Odorizzi and Trevor May had their own radio show on SiriusXM this year. So, both May and Hafner are buddies also, along with Odorizzi. So, lots of Twins guys heading out to New York now to be pitchers. Who knows? I got a couple other major league notes here. Lucas Gilbreth, former Gopher pitcher a few years ago. He's been in the Colorado Rockies organization the last 3 years. He has made their 40-man roster coming up. He's got his fastballs at 97 miles an hour. He was drafted by them in 97. Last year, he spent it all as a starter. His career, he's got, He's got 303 innings pitched, 294 strikeouts. So just short of a strikeout inning. Dabbled between starting and bullpen the first couple of years in the minors. Had all 28 starts last year or games as a starter. Yeah, he's got a 14-21 record as a pitcher. Couple saves. But you know what? That's what minor leagues are for. He's on the 40-man roster. No word yet if the Rockies want to make him a starter or reliever, but they gave him the big invite. Major League Baseball did announce some important dates for the season coming up. December 7th, on MLB Network, they'll have the Roberto Clemente Award dinner. The next day, they'll have the Hank Aaron Award dinner. On December 9th, the all MLB team will be announced. January 26th, Hall of Fame voting results will be announced. April 1st, opening day. Yeah, we'll see how that works out. July 11th through 13th is the MLB draft. Also, the 13th is the All-Star game in Atlanta. July 25th, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. August 12th, they're doing their Field of Dreams games. They did have it scheduled for last year, of course, canceled because of coronavirus. The game is supposed to be the White Sox against the Yankees down on the Field of Dreams in Iowa. From the movie Field of Dreams, they've made that Major League Baseball size, put seats in there. Everything else, not a real big fan of that one. They wanted to make it like the last spring training game for the season. I guess I'd have been okay with it, but not a regular season. My opinion. The game I do like, August 22nd, the Major League Baseball Little League Classic, where they play the one game in Pennsylvania, where the Little League World Series is. This year it's going to be the Angels and the Indians playing there, so that'll be kind of fun to see that. No, they do not play down Little League field. They do, again, expand it out to Major League size. But the fans, I think they only get just a few thousand fans there because they don't put in extra seats for it, so it makes it kind of fun. So that's that for Major League Baseball news there. That's all I got for sports before I get into the concerts and athlete of the week. Do you have any more sports news, sir?
I've got Minnesota Twins. Minnesota Twins notes very interesting moves they made this week. Eddie Rosario is going to go elected to go free agent, longtime fan favorite left fielder for the Twins. It'll be interesting. Now, I do think that the Twins have enough outfielders coming up and on the team already, so it's not going to hurt, and maybe they can use that extra money for some pitching once again. So Rosario's are out. Nelson Cruz is done, but he's up for his contract renewal. Now, it sounds like they were interested in bringing him back, and now he might be getting a little cold feet as far as getting into entertaining some other offers. The National League has not yet determined if they're going to go with the DH again next year, right?
Right.
They haven't announced that yet, and if they do stick with it, there's a lot of teams that are now interested in Nelson Cruz on the National League side. So I think his agent said, we'll hang tight here, guys. We might have a whole other double our market availability looking for DH hitters on a one-year deal from the National League teams. If they aren't going to go with it, he'll probably just sign with the Twins and be done. But who knows? There's a lot more interest out there with depending on what they're going to do with that. But that's all I've got for Major League Baseball.
Well, how many times do you see a hitter when they change leagues, especially late in the career, pitchers haven't seen it before? Sorry about that. You know, a guy switches leagues, it could be good or bad for him. We'll see how that works out.
That's interesting. That's all I've got.
All right, concert information, music stuff here.
Andy, is now a good time to do the answer. Trivia question.
Did you want to do it now? Okay, we could do that.
Or are we done with sports?
Yeah, we are done with the sports. Let's go to the concerts.
Okay.
Joe Carter.
Trivia question. The answer, Joe Carter played baseball at Wichita State. He also played football. That's the trivia question. He was a two-sport, played football one season only, and then went on to play baseball. He was a three-year starter, 3-year all-conference, and all-American, I think, all 3 years as well. Player of the year in the conference his senior year, and the National Collegiate Player of the Year in 1981 was Joe Carter for Wichita State. Went on to be a first-round pick by who? Toronto? No.
Cleveland.
Cleveland Indians first-round pick. So Joe Carter played football one season. Wichita State.
Him and Corey Snyder are supposed to bring the Tribe back to prominence. They're on the cover of Sports Illustrated for the by God's sake.
1987, right?
Yes, yes. The beginning of the Sports Illustrated curse.
Both those guys were on the front cover.
Yep. And I always thought Corey Snyder had the better career myself. I was wrong.
How about some concert updates?
Yes, here we go. Concerts, Medina Entertainment Center. Our
Okay.
friends at Medina. January concerts, Friday the 15th. Now, these aren't for sure yet. Things can change. But as of their schedule right now, Friday the 15th, GB Layton is on there. The 22nd is the rescheduled date of the Shayla Lee Band. They had to cancel because of this around December. They're looking at January 22nd. And January 30th, radio station Bob FM, country station around here, they have their 8th annual listener appreciation party that day. They give out CDs, and it's a good time. The missus has gone once or twice and had a good time there. So those are Medina. Please follow up with them. First Avenue. Please, again, double check with First Avenue for ticket information on some of these. Some of these are going to be the virtual online concerts. 41st Annual John Lennon Tribute by Curtis A. with a little help from his friends. On December 8th. So check out First Avenue's website, the tickets for that. Minnesota State Fair has announced a few acts for 2021 already. Again, you have to check State Fair's website to get tickets and information on that. But here's some dates. We'll start penciling them in. Thursday, August 26th, Miranda Lambert. No special guest to be announced. So we'll be opening act, but they don't know who yet. Tuesday, August 31st, the Doobie Brothers. Their 50th anniversary tour featuring John Johnston, Michael McDonald, Pat Simmons, John McPhee, and special guest, the Dirty Dozen Brass Band. Wednesday, September 1st, Tim McGraw with special guest Midland. Thursday, September 2nd, you're going to have to help me with this one. NF, the Search Tour. I've not heard of an NF. I don't know what they are. So I did not want to let them up. Leaves a surprise to you guys. They're your special guests to be announced. Then Monday, December 6th at 4 p.m., Darcy Lane and Friends. Darcy Lane, if you're not familiar with her, little 12-year-old kid who's a ventriloquist, won on America's Got Talent. Very talented ventriloquist if you're into that sort of thing. Good time to go see her. She gets State Fairgrounds there. Other concerts, again, check like 93X or Bob FM or whatever radio station format you listen to. Check their sites out for virtual concerts online and other information like that. Check Target Center and Excel. They'll have nothing listed for concerts coming up. Those few we mentioned from Medina and First Avenue, again, please check their websites and those band sites to confirm and or deny. This week, we've done Musician of the Week the last couple times. This week we're doing Athlete of the Week. Nicholas Warren Francis Bockwinkel, also known as Nick Bockwinkel, AWA champ, the champ. Born December 6th, 1934, passed away November 14th, 2015. He's an American professional wrestler, known for his appearances in Minneapolis-based AWA from 1970 to 1987, where he held the AWA championship on 4 occasions and the tag team championship 3 times. He is recognized for his exceptional technical wrestling ability and his mastery of in-ring psychology. Also known for his even-toned promos. That was one thing about Nick. He was just so monotone. Everybody loved that about him. Father Warren Bockwinkel was also a professional wrestler. He was born in St. Louis, Missouri, 1934. Attended the University of Oklahoma on a football scholarship. Played for the Oklahoma Sooners until sustaining a knee injury, ended his football career, and cost him his scholarship. You don't see that much anymore. Guy gets hurt, they still let him finish out the degree. But back then, Oklahoma Sooners, man, we got to make room for somebody else. Next guy up, you're gone. Nick was trained to wrestle by his father and also by Lou Thez. So those in the wrestling know Lou Thez was a big name in the NWA. He was at the NWA's Vern Gagne. He had the belt. He was the man down there. So he was trained by 2 of the best, debuting in 1955. Nick did a lot of wrestling on the West Coast to start his career. So he didn't just start here right away. He had a good career out in the West. Late 50s and early 60s, he wrestled as a babyface or a good guy. Good guy is the babyface in wrestling. In the San Francisco NWA territory and big-time wrestling, owned by legendary promoter Ray Shire. In 1958, Bockwinkel, who wrestled then under the name Dick Warren, teamed with some other folks, with Roman Torres at one time for the NWA Tag Team Championship in Sacramento. He won that title a few times. He teamed with Wilbur Snyder to win the championship a couple times. Then he went to Georgia Championship Wrestling after that to move on. He had a feud with he was still the babyface, and the villain or the bad guy, the heel, for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship was Dory Funk Jr. He wrestled him for a few times. Never got the title, but he did have some matches with him. Then in 1970, he joined the AWA, American Wrestling Association here in Minneapolis, Vern Gagne's group, where he formed a team with Ray the Crippler Stevens and managed by Bobby the Brain Heenan. Together, they won the AWA Tag Team Championships 3 times. First in 72, they defended the belts against opponents. There's some names you're going to remember now. Ones like The Crusher, Dick the Bruiser, Billy Robinson, and Vern Gagne. Team eventually broke up after Stevens attacked Heenan when the latter praised himself but failed to comment Stevens in the interview. Bockwinkel also teamed up with Pat Patterson on occasion. I bring that up because Pat Patterson, he was in WWF, WWE. He was their first Intercontinental Champion. Pat Patterson recently just passed away. So that's probably where you've heard the name from wrestling fans. You're going, where have I heard that name? He passed away this week. He was an incredible wrestler. All the guys loved him. But so that's where you remember that name, Pat Patterson, from there. Bockwinkel became known for his his acrylic wrestling interviews. Like I said, he was very well-spoken. He was labeled as being from Beverly Hills, California, so we had to keep that upper crest. I'm better than you. Kind of like the people from Edina. I'm better than you than everybody else. Bockwinkel became known. He goes, I used to use 4, 5, and 6 syllable words the best I could. He was quoted saying in a book, The Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, The Heels. If I ran across one I didn't know, I had a little dictionary. I would have this dictionary that had with 70 to 80 words in it. You'd look it up. You'd read this book. You learn these big words so you could use them in the interviews to sound better than everybody else. With Heenan as his manager, Bockwinkel won his first of many AWA Wrestling Championships on November 8, 1975, when he was 40 years old. Ending Vern Gagne's 7-year reign as champion. He'd go on to defend his championship against guys like Billy Robinson, Dick the Bruiser, The Crusher, Tino Santana, Mad Dog Vachon, Jerry Lawler, Otto Vance, Mr. Saito, Jim Brunzell, Greg Gagne, Vern Gagne, and Hulk Hogan. Bockwinkel was involved in the first ever AWA versus WWF World Title Unification match. He wrestled Bob Backlund to a double countout on March 25th, 1979 in Toronto. That was a big thing back then when these two associations would get together, either AWA and NWA, WWF and NWA. They have champion against champion. We're going to settle this all for all. Always entered a double countout, double disqualification. There was never a winner on those. Boy, when they came to your town, you thought, this might be the time. No, it wasn't going to happen. Bockwinkel's first reign lasted 1,716 days, and ended July 19th, 1980, when he was defeated by Vern Gagne. Shortly after gaining the AWA title, Gagne announced his retirement from professional wrestling. The AWA Heavyweight Championship belt was awarded back to Bockwinkel May 19th, 1981. This move infuriated, made wrestling fans very upset throughout the AWA, thus solidifying Bockwinkel as a heel, or a bad guy, the most hated bad guy ever, because they just gave him the championship. Perhaps the biggest controversy surrounding Bockwinkel and his title reign involved a series of matches with Hulk Hogan, whom Gagne signed after Hogan left WWF at one time in 81. In June of 82, Hogan defeated Bockwinkel by pinfall in St. Paul, Minnesota to capture the AWA title. But AWA President Stanley Blackburn reversed the decision and returned the title to Bockwinkel, who went on to lose it to Otto Vance and regain it with Bobby Heenan's help in a span of 2 months. Hogan, in the meantime, grew tired of the politics surrounding Bockwinkel and the world title, and then departed the AWA and went to WWF. The rest is kind of history after that. So just think, if Hogan would have stayed here, they would have gave him the title. Would we still have an AWA right now? Would WWE be as big as they are now? We'll never know. On February 22nd, 1984, Jumbo Tsuruta, a Japanese wrestler, defeated Nick Bockwinkel to capture the AWA title in a match where Terry Funk was the guest referee. On an AWA card, Bockwinkel wrestled NWA World Champion Ric Flair for the NWA title on January 16th, 86 at the Winnipeg Arena. Bout ended in a double countout. Bockwinkel last held the AWA Championship in 87 at the age of 52. So he still hoped we'd win the championship. We got time. He became popular in a feud against then AWA champion Stan Hansen. Hansen failed to appear for a title defense. Bockwinkel won the belt on a forfeit. Hansen had quit the AWA from that point. Months later, he dropped the championship to another second-generation wrestler, Kurt Hennig, at the Super Clash. The match ended in controversial fashion. With interference by Larry Zbyszko handed a roll of coins to Hennig, who hit Bockwinkel. But to get his payback, Bockwinkel had a match with Zbyszko later on. And Zbyszko with a roll of quarters. Got his payback there. Post-retirement for Mr. Bockwinkel. After departing the AWA, Bockwinkel worked as a road agent for the WWF, also serving as color commentator for occasional television events, after having been introduced as an arena show by Bobby Heenan as his replacement for the night. He was released in 1989 due to budget cuts. He returned to the ring in 93 at Slamboree, a Legends reunion. The card was promoted by World Championship Wrestling, featured veteran wrestlers from all over the country. Bockwinkel wrestled former NWA champion Dory Funk Jr. to a time limit draw as part of the undercard. In 84, Bockwinkel became an on-the-screen commissioner for WCW. He was reunited on a program with Bobby Heenan, but the former partners in the AWA was never mentioned. 82, he tried to join up with other guys as commissioners as a short-lived shoot-style promotion in Japan. That didn't make it very well. He lost there. With the collapse of the UWF International, wrestlers wanted to move to other promotions. Bockwinkel was president of the Cauliflower Alley Club until he had stepped down in May of 2014 due to health reasons. Cauliflower Alley Club is Good Old Boys Wrestling Club. It's kind of like an American Legion for wrestlers. So they all went there. He's part of a group. They all get together, have conventions, autograph signings. They read books of other wrestlers and they retire afterwards. Hey, or they read their Facebook posts or Instagram posts. Hey, here's pictures of me and so-and-so at Cauliflower Alley. So it's kind of like an American Legion for wrestlers. In March 31st, 2007, I could speak English, he was inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame by his former manager, Bobby Heenan. Bockwinkel would make an appearance on WWE Raw, March 29th, as part of a Legends Lumberjack match between Christian and Ted DiBiase. Bockwinkel is known, his legacy is known for his technical wrestling ability and his in-ring psychology. Bob Backlund wrote in his autobiography that Nick had a great head for the game, a wonderful sense of the ring psychology, and an uncanny ability to use intelligence and cockiness to get under people's skin. He was a terrific representative for the AWA. He was a key player in the success of the AWA for a long time. Backlund said he was a very intelligent, well-spoken, and cocky heel. His in-ring skills were right up there with the very best in the business. Again, all these other quotes I've read, no one has said a bad word about Vern anywhere. About Nick Bockwinkel. Nick made Vern a lot of money when they were here at the time. Kind of when Nick left, that's kind of when it started going downhill in 87 there. Kind of wasn't the same. In 1968, Nick Bockwinkel appeared as a contestant on the primetime version of the NBC game show Hollywood Squares, winning, now this is in 1968, winning a Pontiac Freebird, a deluxe kitchen set, and $1,300 in cash. He played Harry in an episode of Sunday Savage and the show Y50. Bockwinkel also played a wrestler in an episode of the 1960s television series The Monkees.
Nice.
The Monkees. Hey, we're the Monkees. Personal life. He was married twice. 2 kids. None of them got into the business. But in November of 2007, he did a triple bypass heart surgery. 2007, he was elected as president of Cauliflower Alley Club, a nonprofit organization. In 2013, Ric Flair told Steve Austin on his podcast that Bockwinkel had Alzheimer's disease. Bockwinkel's wife, Darlene, denied Flair's claim, but did acknowledge that he had health problems. That's been kind of a rip on Flair. He kind of lets a lot of what we call behind the curtain stuff out. And it's like, whatever, Ric Flair, I'll say what I want. No one's going to hate me for it. No one's really hated Flair for it. Spouses doing this. He says stuff like this. Did he have Alzheimer's? Because of pride, they didn't want to say anything. We'll never know. She just said he had health issues. He did have, he would go to public appearances. His wife would be there, but he did have, they say, dementia and heart issues at the end. Bockwinkel died of undisclosed causes on the evening of November 14th. His remains were cremated in Las Vegas, and a memorial mass was held in the church in St. Louis, Missouri, where he was born. He was survived by his wife, 2 children from his first marriage, and 2 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. That's our athlete of the week, Nicholas Warren Francis Bockwinkel. Nick Bockwinkel, the champ. When we pick these athletes of the week, artists of the week, it's usually someone who was born or died in that week, kind of, so there's a reason for it. His birthday was December 6th. Yeah, so there's some other birthdays this week, Ozzy Osbourne, but it's only an hour show. I couldn't get into Ozzy stuff for an hour. So that'd be a special episode right there, different stories about that man. But that's all I got, sir. Anything else you got to wrap her up?
I've got the album of the week.
Yes.
Yes.
No parting shots on Nick Bockwinkel?
Ozzy turned 74 this week.
Wow.
I've got an album of the week review here of a band, a supergroup called Them Crooked Vultures. This may be not one that many people would have heard of, but Them Crooked Vultures is an alternative rock supergroup formed in Los Angeles in 2009 by Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age on lead vocals and guitar, John Paul Jones, bassist from Led Zeppelin, and Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters and Nirvana playing drums. It was considered hard rock or alternative rock. Here, let me show the screen here of the image. It may bring back some memories of people bought this album here in 2009 it came out. Can you see that image there?
Yep.
Them Crooked Vultures. So based in Los Angeles, California, they got together, started playing and recording in February of 2009. Only did one album, released that, went on a tour, and that was it. They never officially broke up. There is rumors of them getting back together here. It's been 11 years now, but they may be able to get back together. So look for that, something like that. These guys are all busy doing other things, of course, but very interesting. On November 17th, 2009, the single New Fang, F-A-N-G, was released as a downloadable song for Rock Band 2 video game. And also, end of 2010, in October, a song entitled Dead End Friends was included on the on-disc track for the game Rock Band 3. Also, the guys got together and they performed on this on Saturday Night Live as the musical guest back on the February edition, February 6th, 2010. You may want to look up on YouTube and watch this episode. They performed 2 songs as the musical guest on Saturday Night Live. They also performed, they appeared, the longtime PBS show Austin City Limits was broadcast, doing some music there. And the band appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live on April 13th weekend, 2010. The band members, once again, Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, also played guitar in Caius with a K. John Paul Jones, the ever popular Led Zeppelin man, is still playing there with the bass on this group. Dave Grohl, of course, is on drums. The album was released November 2009, reached 12 on the charts, went up to number 12. In Canada, it went platinum. They did have 2 releases, New Fang and the song Mind Eraser, No Chaser. Here's a track listing. Song 1 was, got some pretty good Song titles here are pretty good. And title one was No One Loves Me and Neither Do I. Song 2 is Mind Eraser, No Chaser. Song 3 is New Fang. That was their first single off this track. Song 4 is Dead End Friends. Song 5, Elephants. Song 6 was The Scumbag Blues. Song 7, Bandoliers. Song 8, Reptiles. Little animals are mentioned here. Song 9 is an LSD song called Interlude with Ludes. Good psychedelic rock song there. And song 10 is Warsaw, or The First Breath You Take After You Give Up. Song 11 is Caligula. Song 12, Gunman. And song 13 is called Spinning in the Daffodils. Spinning in the Daffodils. So interesting stuff. It is very interesting music to listen to this album. It's 13 songs. It goes an hour, 6 minutes. They had enough to make even potentially a double album. They had so much music. That's the other reason I do think that they wanted to get back together, because they got songs that are unfinished from the first recording session. That was just too many to put on one album. There are no duds or throwaways here. All these songs are good. The band came up with the name Them Crooked Vultures, as it's a name with no significance. It really means nothing. The original band name they wanted was Caligula. That was taken. They couldn't do it. They did have one of the songs called Caligula. Now, the album that they did in 2011, those may not be familiar even with this album. They won a Grammy in 2011 for Best Hard Rock Performance for the song New Fang. So, kind of an underreported album there, album of the week review, but it's November 2009, called Them Crooked Vultures. But it was a supergroup. That's all I've got for album of the week.
That had a song called Mind Eraser, No Chaser. From what I remember, that was a popular bar drink back in the day when I used to go. A Mind Eraser.
With the No Chaser.
I forgot what it's in it, but yeah.
The lyrics are also very good. These three have been around music for so long.
Right.
You can tell the level of, this is not an amateurish band. These are professionals, and they're having a little fun with it too. A lot of tongue in cheek, a lot of humor. But I was listening just the other day, and if you tune out the lead guitar and even the vocals and the rest of the music, just listen to Dave Grohl on the drums. It's worth listening to all 13 songs, just hearing this madman behind.
He's back on the drum, yeah.
He hasn't done it since when he was with Nirvana, and they've got a drummer with the Foo Fighters. Taylor Hawkins is the drummer. So this album, you really see Dave Grohl cut loose. It's got some good stuff on there.
Very nice.
That's all I've got for album of the week for this week.
I will make those additions to our Sports and Songs Spotify page, Dan's album review. I'll have a link for that up on the Facebook page again. Our technology team did not get that up last week as promised. We will get that link up this weekend.
Yeah, if you follow or subscribe to that Spotify channel, you'll be able to listen to the songs in order or shuffle or whatever of all the different various musical tastes that we've covered.
I had a discussion with our social media team. There were some firings. It was not a pretty sight. But yeah, we talked about it. Things have changed. So.
It got wild. Well, we've done now, I think, 52 episodes. We're in our second season, so we're getting up there. But look for this show on Anchor, the audio version, and then on this particular video version on our YouTube channel.
All right.
Please share, like, and subscribe, and anything else. And also, we're looking for recommendations, ideas for future topics for shows. But we'll see you next week.
Yeah. So this show, YouTube's going to be out this weekend. Sunday, it's going to drop on Anchor, Sunday, December 6th. With that, I have to say, happy 21st birthday to my little girl, Abby.
Oh, yes.
We turned 1 on Sunday. So.
Happy birthday.
Yes. 21. up at college.
First taste of beer is coming down her way.
If they can find one open up there, what's a college town? You'll find beers.
All right, have a good weekend, everybody.
All right, see you now. Bye.